Hi, everyone. Hope you guys are having an amazing day today. So excited to bring to you some of my personally recommended top three Caribbean cruises. Don't get me wrong, there are so many of them, and honestly, a lot of them just really depends on the type of clientele and what your interests are, what you like. Some of them have a little bit more luxury, some of them are a little bit more nightlife, some of them are just strictly just relaxing. So with cruising is very important to kind of match the cruise line and the cruise ship to the type of vibe that you're experiencing. But we're going to dive into it. And in the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe to this video as well as the channel because we bring to you a ton of destinations worldwide, some of the transformational retreats, as well as some amazing founders that are doing some remarkable things in their industry. So you can definitely hone in, stay tuned, and definitely stay connected. So for those who don't know me, my name is Taishita. I am the founder and CEO of Luxury Travels by Dreamy Designer Events, where I carry elevated experiences worldwide and transformational retreats because I really feel if you travel, you reset, reconnect, and rediscover who you are so you can come back a better version of yourself and more aligned so that you can kind of get back to your everyday life and then be able to enjoy it just a little bit better. And on that note, let's dive right on in because I'm so excited to kind of give you some tips that you definitely will be taking away from you. Again, as always, any questions, definitely make sure you either send us an email, schedule a consultation, and we'll definitely be able to. One thing I do want to mention is with cruising, one of the really big bonuses, they do have their itineraries out really far in advance. Most of the cruise lines are out anywhere from a year and a half to 2 years in advance, and that is worldwide. That's whether you're going Caribbean, staying in the US, going to Mediterranean, Asian, depending on where you're looking at. They have them so far in advance. So it's really nice because you can get see some really itineraries. Sometimes they may change some ports or things of that manner, but when you book it, you are confirmed and you're locked into that particular rate that you book in, including the promotion. Plus, it's nice because it gives you excited. Some of them you can do deposits, or some of them have early booking promotions where they have special rates the earlier you book. So with that note, let's dive right on in. Hi, so let's dive in. We are setting sail, breaking down the top three cruise lines in the Caribbean that I recommend. Like I said, there are so many of them, and they all kind of have their own different charm and own different clientele. So I'm just going to really touch on three of them. But like I said, there's so many more out there. Definitely, if you're thinking about it, if it's your first time, or if you also cruise a lot and you're looking to try to change it up, definitely reach out because we want to make sure that we are fitting you with the right cruise line, that you have everything to offer. So let's go right on in. So what we're going to cover today is we're going to break down the different cruise lines, type of travelers for each of them, some of the cabin options, things of that manner. I didn't really show any of the photos for the cabins because every cruise ship, a lot of times, some of them are similar, but also a lot of them are a little bit different. So if you grabbed our tour document that we actually had released, I know we sold out earlier in the year. We are bringing some of them back, the digital ones. Once we do bring them back, I will attach the link into the comments of the videos. But those will actually have the photos of the particular ships, things of that manner. We also do have a guide for a lot of different destinations and cruising that you can definitely take advantage of. But let's go right on in. So here, we're going to start off with Royal Caribbean. So Royal Caribbean, I really like the ship. It's really nice. It's very big, very big. So when I say this, every time they make a new one, it's bigger than the last one. This is your iconic multi-generational family-friendly cruise without a doubt. And when I say that, I mean, they have the shows, they have the rock climbing, they have the zip lining, they have the theaters with the shows, they have the shows for kids, and they have shows for adults. Like you name it, they have it. It's one of those type of cruises where you can't miss a beat regardless of what you're looking for. Now they do have, they always have different promotions that are going on. However, what I will say is based off of the itinerary you're going on, also makes a difference with the cruise line because sometimes if you're going to more ports, it doesn't matter too much if you have an older ship, but if you're going to if you have more days at sea, and then you definitely want more of a bigger ship, so you have a lot more options to do while you're there at the same time. Just like I said before, this ship is really great for families, multi-generational kids. They have so much to do. And when I say that, I mean kids of all stages. So whether they're young, teenagers, young adults, people who like to kind of just relax, they have something for everyone. I will say though, if you are looking to get away and you are trying to figure out which type of ship is going to have the least amount of kids, with the Royal Caribbean, you will probably have one of the higher percentile of seeing kids on the ship, just because it is geared to making sure that if families are going away, if friends are going away, if friends with kids, it's making sure that there's always something to do, but it has a lot of activities for kids and it has a lot of activities for adults as well. But if you're trying to be like, hey, I want to go away and I don't want to see any kids, or if I want to see as little as possible, it's going to be a little bit harder unless you're on like one of their older ships. And a lot of them, they also are revamping when they renovate it to have more activities. But like I said, it's really meant for when you're on this ship, there's things to do, multiple things at the same hour, because they want to make sure everyone has something to do at any given time. Cabin types, they have your interiors, your ocean views, your balconies, suites. And they also, which is really nice, especially with a lot of their newer ships, they do also have virtual balconies too, especially within like their interior cabins and things of that manner. And it's nice because it makes you feel like you're not just in like a 4x4 room with no windows and things of that manner. They kind of add a little virtual aspect. Typically, for anyone who's never cruised before, interiors are normally always the best price. They're the ones that's going to be more for like, you want to get away. You don't really care if you see, have a view, anything of that manner. And then you have your ocean view, which kind of gives you like a porthole window. And then you have your balconies, which you can actually go outside on the balcony. And then they have the suites, which suites, it really ranges. They have everything from like your junior suites with just like a couch and a sitting area to sometimes they have a 2-bedroom or a penthouse suite. So it really varies. But this particular Royal Caribbean has always been known. They definitely have upgraded. They upgraded from like their virtual wall to like a virtual balcony. So it's to kind of making sure even when you're in an interior cabin, you can still have that. Now, not all interior cabins have it. So you just have to make sure it is that particular one, but they do have it to kind of give you still a lower cost. But you're not feeling like you're totally just in a room with no windows. Also, with their balconies, same thing I tell people all the time. They have, especially again with their mid ships to their bigger ships, they have multiple different balconies. So not all of their balconies are ocean view. They'll have a Central Park balcony, which means it's the inside of the ship, but you're looking over the Central Park view of the actual ship. They also do have like a boardwalk view, and then they have ocean view. So that's very important because sometimes people say, oh, balcony. No, obviously ocean view balcony is going to be one of the higher price options, but definitely make sure you're looking at it. But they have multiple ones so that people, if they don't want to feel too like enclosed, they can still get a balcony that's overlooking something. Doesn't necessarily have to be the ocean. And same thing, like I said, with Royal Caribbean, they always are having promotions. They have their kids sell free, their BOGO. BOGO, they run almost year round. It just depends on the itinerary and it depends on the time of year. They are also always having savings where you get reduced rates, things of that manner. So definitely it's always something at a given time. You just want to make sure you catch it when it's the best. But I always tell people the sooner you are cruising, the higher the prices go, even with promotions, just because the availability is very limited. And just before we conclude, I always like to do a ship highlight with the Utopia of the Seas, which was one of their newest ones, which debuted in 2024. It is huge. It's kind of like you're literally on a major city on the sea. So they have their Broadway performances. They have their water slides. They have their Broadway performances. They have their kids theater. They have kids area, you name it, they have it. And they also have an entire like promenade where it has like shops and cafes and things of that manner. So you can't go wrong. It is one of their newest ones. So a lot of times I tell people if they're looking specifically for the particular ship, you have to kind of match it out because a lot of times ships do transition. So they'll do like maybe 8 or 9 months in the Caribbean, then they'll transition and they'll do Europe, or they'll do a different part of the world. So it's always good to kind of keep a heads up to see where they are, especially if you want to go on a particular ship versus like particular dates or particular itinerary. Now we are going on to Norwegian, which is one of my favorite cruise lines, hands down, for many reasons. And I'm going to try and say as much as I can without taking too much time up. But honestly, Norwegian, honestly, can talk about it for days. So, no, sorry, Norwegian. Oh my goodness. Okay. So to kind of start off, they're definitely a lot more freestyle. So it's kind of like you can dress up if you want, but you can also be very casual. Very nice. You're actually going to see at the end of this month, you're going to see my full vlog from my most recent Norwegian. I have been on there a few times, but the most recent one, and I'll kind of go a little bit more in depth to that one and the pros, the cons, and all of the in between. So definitely itself, I want to say it's almost kind of perfect for couples. If you're going on a friends, family trip, if you're going for by yourself, things of that manner, they have a little bit for everyone. What I will kind of probably say that it stands out to me is depending on the ship, and this is very important. The same thing with most cruise lines. Depending on the ship, depends on what you're looking for. So there are some itineraries where older ships are good because you're going to be busy every single day. And there's other ones where you're like, okay, well, I'm going to be on the ship most of the time. So I want something that has a lot more to do. It definitely has like that mix between laid back, but also comfortable and a little bit of hint of luxury. I really like it because depending on what you want to do, they have kids activities. They have for families, they have things for kids to do. Some of their bigger ships even have like the slides. They have a ton of different things to do. However, you don't like, it's kind of like, I want to say, it's not a season that it's not always in your face, but they kind of have areas where kids are going to be. And then obviously for dinner time, you're going to see them, things of that manner, but they're not like as much like 100% there, things of that manner. They have a ton of things for them to do, but they have them in specific parts of the ship, which kind of makes it like a little bit more secluded because you can do things and then the kids can enjoy themselves, but you also know where they're going to be or where they're going to interact or different things of that manner. So it makes it a little bit almost better in that aspect. Their cabins, same thing. They have the interiors, balconies, ocean views, suites, all of that. The nice thing with Norwegian is they do also have solo cabins as well. So they have solo interior cabins that are also in specific areas of the ship. So it helps too because it is not, because when it comes to cruising, you may not pay taxes for the second person, but for the room itself, you're almost paying for the full room, even if it's one person. So since they have the solo interior cabins, it makes the pricing a little bit better, but you still get the same experience. Same thing on the ship. They have, especially if you're going by yourself, they have events for like people who are traveling by themselves. So, like you can make friends, things of that manner, all stuff. And then they also have things where you can just go to events and not have to worry about it and just do what you want to do. So it has that best of both worlds. For people who do like the suites, they do have their Haven suites, which all their Haven suites are butler suites. They have specific elevators just for Haven suites. They have a specific area on the ship that's just for Haven. And it's pretty much like your Oasis. While you're on the Oasis on the ocean. So definitely it's really nice. I have clients that actually have done these. Actually, some clients who do them multiple times each year, and they'll do different itineraries, but they'll always stay in the Haven just because it gives that extra touch of luxury, because you're like, hey, if I'm going on vacation, I want to go full out, experience it all, and then some. Let's talk about the promotions. Honestly, when Norwegian launched this years ago, I thought it was like game changer, honestly, because this is amazing. So with their promotions, depending on your cabin, it depends on your selling. Most sellings do qualify for their free at sea promotion. It just depends sometimes on the cabin you're in, how long or short the stays is. However, most of their free at sea that you will get is you'll get specialty dining. So it depends on how long your selling is. You can get anywhere from 1 to multiple nights at the specialty dining. So with cruising, especially for people who either haven't been or only been on a handful of them, you get complimentary sit down dinner each night. That's included. You also do have buffets every day. mostly pretty much almost 24/7. But they do also have specialty dining. So specialty dining could be like the steakhouse, the Japanese, sushi, hibachi, French restaurant, Mexican restaurant. They have so many different themes. Those are specialty ones where you can dress up, you can go to them, and those are considered specialty dining. Those are additional costs outside of the ones that's already included. But what's nice is they do include, depending on how long your selling is, one night or multiple nights at the specialty dining. It's game changer because it's nice. You can dress up if you're celebrating something special, like a birthday. They can do a birthday cake for you, anniversary, anything of that manner. They also do have Wi-Fi minutes that they'll give you included, and then they also do have shore excursion credit that they'll give you per cabin for each of the cruise ports that you're going to, which kind of helps out because a lot of times you want to do something and it's like extra free money that you can use. Now, on top of that, depending on their other promotions that kind of roll around, sometimes they'll do it where the third and fourth person are either free or you're just paying $99 for them. And then they have an array of different other fifth perk that may happen depending on the promotion, the time of the year. And that's always in addition to whatever savings promotions that they have. So sometimes they'll do 40 to like 70% off of the second guest. And those are all in addition to these. So all of these free at sea promotions, most of them are pretty much included. Some of them you just may pay taxes or a gratuity on top of it. It also depends on the selling. So like I said, it's kind of like you get like a double. So you get savings promotions, you get extra perks, and you're getting an amazing cruise line. You can't go wrong with that. So just to spotlight one of their cruising, which is their Norwegian Viva. Their Norwegian Viva, I actually haven't seen this particular cruise. I did go on their Prima, which is like, it's still in their Prima series of class. And honestly, I fell in love with it. I mean, it took like 5 seconds. It was like, first like, hello. Yeah, like that, the cruise. And when I tell you they did that class, they did, like, I felt like I was at a 5-star resort the moment I walked in, to the cruise, to the lobby, to the restaurants, even to the rooms. And normally in the past, especially with cabins, that's their main thing. Cabins are not like when you go to a hotel and you sit there, like, they're not, I mean, they're like spacious enough for like a couple of people, maybe some luggage, but they're not like a huge, let's hang out in the cabin type of spacious. When they did this, not only was the decor important, it was spacious, the bathrooms were spacious, like they really outdid themselves when they did this class of service. And the Viva, I have clients that have been on it, and I've seen pictures and videos of it. Hands down, one of my next ones that I definitely do want to go to. But with them, it definitely offers that high experience. But like I said, it's for families, couples, solos, you name it, they got it. Because again, like I said, I like it because even going with kids, they have different areas where kids can hang out, play. They can still have the time of their life, and you can have the time of your life and not have to worry about anything, all while you're enjoying this elevated experience. Listen, hello. So my last cruise that I wanted to highlight is Celebrity Cruises. This one is definitely really nice. This one's kind of I would say this is kind of like a step up into the elevated luxury experience where, most of their cruising, they're going to get more of like that modern layout. You're going to get this nice, clean, crisp feel with the cruising. And you're also going to get that more elevated experience also on there. They are another one. They're really good for adults celebrating something. So like honeymoons, couples, anniversaries, and things of that manner. They do have it. They're not an adults only cruise line. They do have it if kids want to go too. They just don't have a ton of activities. They may have some like mild, but they don't have a lot of activities for kids. So a lot of times you're going to get more, especially if you have younger kids or kids that are very active, you're going to get them more on like a Royal Caribbean, and some may go on a Norwegian. Actually, Norwegian probably will get them, like, depending on what cruise ship you're going on. But for Celebrity, they may go, but you may see more like older adults, kids, or you may see like more kids that are like pretty much laid back. You're not going to see a ton of like in your face, a lot of kids activities, but kids are welcomed on there as well. However, it's really kind of more for like laid back, want to enjoy the decor, the different spacious rooms, the amenities, the food. It's definitely a higher, more elevated experience. But like I said, depending depending on what class you're booked in terms of your cruise. So like obviously they have their interior ocean view, they have their veranda, which is like their balcony, but they have different suites. So like they have their retreat suite, the retreats, and then they also do, depending on the ship, they have different series, including like you'll see there the aqua class. So when you see the different classes and suites, you can read up and see, but a lot of them, so some of them will have it where they'll include different perks. So they'll have like gratuities, drink package. Some of them may have some wellness or spa included, things of that manner. And that just depends on the type of class of service each of the cabin that you're actually booked into. So it just varies. But like I said, a lot of times our people, they like the retreat class. They like the retreat suites because they do have a lot of extra amenities. And again, it's almost kind of like the Haven and with Norwegian, which is kind of like that elevated high level experience. But if you want to go away and you're like, hey, I just want something that's gorgeous, that's like laid back, things of that manner, but I'm still getting that top notch experience, you don't have to be in the retreat suites. You can also do like ocean view with veranda, and you can still take advantage of the amazing layout and everything that the cruise itself has to offer. Their packages, which is really nice. Oh, forgot to tell you that with the Norwegian ones too, they also do have the drink package included with their free at sea. Similar to this one with Celebrity, they have their drink package, their Wi-Fi, and then they also have their tips, which is really good because most, actually all cruise lines, aside from Celebrity and a few other ones, gratuity is something that's always something that you have to worry about, but you can either prepay for them ahead of time, which I always recommend, just because it makes it a little bit easier and you don't have to worrying about it, while you're on the ship. If not, they will automatically charge you a flat rate for gratuity each day, and then you just pay for it at the end of the cruise. So it's just some like extra tips to just keep in mind, but those are also things just to keep, just to kind of be mindful of. The Celebrity Beyond, this is one in their Edge series. This is really nice. It is I kind of tell people it's a big ship, but it's more elegant. So in terms of their shows, you're going to have a lot more of like, they'll have gourmet things. So a lot of the activities they'll have, whether it's food tasting, it's shopping series, and shopping series is when, like, depending on the islands or depending on the place you're going, they'll actually have where it's like a shopping thing. So they'll say, hey, this place is good for this. If you're looking for, some of them even is fun because they'll actually say, oh, if you go to these places, they'll give you a free X, Y, and Z. It's also nice too because they have a lot more luxury gourmet foods. So they'll have like where you're sitting down. This one is a little bit more where you're going to see more people like dressing up for dinner, that more sophisticated look, feel, things of that manner. This is really nice. They have them in the Caribbean, but Celebrity itself, they have them almost worldwide. But if you want to do Celebrity, I always tell people, it's always good to kind of not be so stuck on a particular set of dates. So say, for example, if you're like, I can only go July 20th through the 25th, you may not find the port you're looking for on the cruise line you're looking for, because same thing with all cruises, they are out a year and a half to two in advance. So people are booking them early. So they have a lot of ships and they have a lot, but if they're not as big as like a Royal Caribbean, because they're looking for, they know between the kids and the adults, they're going to have thousands of people. That's just something just to keep in mind with them itself. But like I said, it's more for you want to get away, enjoy yourself, have a nice laid back experience without having to worry about anything else. Plus you get most of your stuff all included anyway. So why not? So with that definitely concludes it. Please let me know which one's your favorite. Have you been on one before? I would love to hear your thoughts, and definitely questions as always. I say every time we do a lot of these videos, we get so many amazing people who reach out. My team has been amazing with some of the clients that they have, and also some people who just have questions that are looking for more future experiences. But on that note, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and until the next time, bye.